It's another thing about Lucifer White Star Lines. My banks never went bankrupt. Um, you know, through every recession, if you noticed, there's always one or two banks that stay afloat, and those are the real banks. And basically, it's just a matter of you need to wait. You'll get your money or you'll get something. But I mean, unless most of the times the problem actually is that there's no food. There's no, your money is no good. I mean, because people are like, well, we need to have enough food for us, and we don't have enough food for us. So usually when the banks close, I mean, and it's ridiculous. And basically it's like you'll get your money tomorrow when the banks open. You can't all pull out your money, and besides, it's just what's on hand. There's always more. Especially, I mean, like everyone knew, I had Fort Knox, and that's another reason why America did better than most other countries, and so why Germany did so well too, is because Germany was a manufacturing powerhouse, and also had quite a few gold supplies as well, and so did America. And Russia had diamonds or jewels basically, and quite a few mineral mines of its own, which is why it also stayed afloat as well. There's always more money. You just have to wait until tomorrow. Now, food, on the other hand, that was a bigger issue, and that's where the civilization was really having a problem. There wasn't enough food to go around, or at least food was spoiling too quickly. So Germany and other countries had to do more of a staggered system, and places like Japan even gave to the world and basically just decided to fast for a couple weeks, and until the crops were ready. There's only so much food, and that's another thing where I came through for the world is refrigeration. In the olden days, we probably would have trucked to the cold climates for refrigeration, but with the cooling systems and like I say, with steam engines, basically, steam engines could provide 24/7 power, or at least pumping capability that would very much pump stuff. And with brine or Brian, with brine or it's basically salt water, but Brine systems, Brine refrigeration. I did a few things that I named after myself. What can I say? With Brine refrigeration, I didn't want to be poor or forgotten or anything else like that. So I don't know why they call it brine. Well, they call it brine, but it's Brian refrigeration, which is basically saltwater, steam engines, and pumping. Brian refrigeration at your service. First used with Olympic Coliseum, where they had an ice rink, even in the desert. There was a problem with it. I think they had to use hay or something like that to put it on top of the ice to keep the cold in, because there was a problem with it cooling off too much, at nighttime, because the nighttime was 80 degrees, and so they probably used hay or something. I'm not exactly sure, some sort of covering. I'm not exactly sure what they did in the Coliseum, but I know it had one of my Brine refrigeration systems, which is basically salt and water, and then pumped. They use a system of radiators and pumping it from high pressure from small to big fittings, and also through a radiator, basically, and to get the heat out of it. Putting it under pressure, basically, and my big massive pumps, basically a piston, pretty much a steel piston, and basically a steam engine. Cost a lot of money to run, but we ran it for a little while, just as a test, and it worked. And then, but for an ice rink, that's just kind of silly and kind of like a waste. But it was the Brian refrigeration system, just so you know. They call it Brine, but it's Brian refrigeration. That's why they call it the brain. That's why they call it Brine. Oh, Brian. Is it Brian? Brian. Brine. Yeah, brine. Fluid, whatever, which is salt and water mixed together. Anyway, we used to do ice blocks and stuff like that, and that's why that is out there. So it's Lucifer Star Brine system refrigeration at your service. Anyway, because I wanted to do an ice ring, and so I tasked my people to do it, and my people started working on it, and it worked. Yes, and it was a hit. Snow cones in the desert. Yeah, sold like, and with a little fruitiness on top, with a little fruit drizzle on top, with some artificial flavoring and some flavoring like grape, and I think they also had a little bit of alcohol or something like that, but it melted the ice, and stuff like that. And we also messed around with some alcohol and ice or something like that too, some other concoctions. Concoctions work, mixing, testing out other things like alcohol and ice together, but it didn't really work too well. So anyway, because alcohol freezes, it doesn't freeze. So anyway, though, messing around with all that stuff. So anyway, but because we're trying to make it, we tried to make an alcohol snow cone. It didn't work. It did not work. Slushy, yeah, we made alcohol slushy called margaritas. The best thing to do was slushy, so we made it into a hey, I wanted it, so they got it, and they call it margarita. It still sold really well, even though it's just a big slush ball. It's basically just alcohol and slush. Still sold really well. I mean, especially in the deserts. I mean, top number one seller. And it was my idea, because I wanted alcohol and slushy together, and so they did it. I mean, shaved ice and alcohol, and because everybody likes alcohol, and what's better than the alcohol and shaved ice? So call it margarita. Anyway, though, but yeah, all that stuff, and that was all because of the Brine refrigeration system. Lusifer Star, just subcategory Brine system. So anyway, yeah, the two, I'm Lusifer Star, so I just changed my name. Anyway, that's why it's always known as Brine. Anyway, yeah, I had lots of mines and stuff like that. They're Lucifer Star mines. Anyway, ow, I cut myself really bad. Wounded, damn chair, wounded me. Anyway, see, I bleed in flesh and blood. We wrote it in the book that I was going to become flesh and blood at some point in time. I'd walk among you. Yeah, it's a really deep cut. That's why it says in the Bible that the Lord shall walk among you, walk among us. It's talking about me. Brine, Lusifer Star. I'm your Lord. Excuse me, I'm your Lord. I am. In flesh. So, anyway, very much denied and slammed, and all kinds of other people wanted to say that they were the Lord and not me. Oh, yeah, it's a very deep cut. Ow. See, these bodies just aren't very efficient and they die too easy. So, anyway, whatever. Lots of people were trying to make me dead. A lot faster than natural causes. Anyway, yeah. And I wasn't supposed to tell anyone who I really was. But, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to tell them. I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell them. I don't care. They've denied me enough, and been enough problems, so I was like, fine. And then they wanted to, before I told everyone on video who I truly was, Lusifer Star. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed child. Well, blonde-haired anyway. Blue eyes had to go. Or I changed them at some point in time. I never should have done that, but oh well. They were hunting down blonde-haired children because they were trying to kill me. It's like, damn, what'd they all do? Well, they happen to look like Lucifer Star. So, anyway, and people very much wanted to kill me. And now the best they can do is harass me in my own country.